Hello everyone, I'm Lino Fera, the host of Cribwolf Talks. Our program spotlights social organizations offering them an opportunity to showcase their core services to our viewers. People with diverse abilities require deeply affordable housing. Having said this, a roof over their head does not provide persons with diverse abilities the fullness of life they deserve. An enriched life must include access to employment, whether volunteer or paid, healthy foods, community engagement, and support services. We all want to be included in our community. Affordable housing is a huge part of the equation, whether an intentional community setting or a smaller group home model. Today on our show, I'm joined by Justin Rain, Director of Policy and Research at a compelling organization called Rental Rescue. His insights are both thought-provoking and inspiring, and I'm confident you'll find our conversation to be impactful and enlightening. Let's welcome Justin Rain. Justin, welcome to our program, Cribwolf Talks. You and I met last year in October. The Intentional Community Consortium had a housing forum, and you were one of the presenters. And I found your talk very interesting, hence the invitation, and thank you for accepting to come on our program. Rental Rescue is an interesting name, but maybe we could begin our talk by what's behind, how did it evolve, and tell me more about Rental Rescue.
So Rental Rescue evolved based on our founder, Crystal Valencia. She saw a need in the community. She said that there's non-for-profits don't have enough financial capacity and human resources to be able to do the work that needs to be done. So we also noticed that there are low-rise apartment buildings that are being lost to the financialized market, that are being forgotten about, neglected, and Rental Rescue was named this way because we are rescuing those apartment buildings and those affordable units from being lost to the market. And so that's how it grew. And over the last year and a half, we've grown, and we now have 17 units, and we're evolving and growing fast.
Wow, I love I visited your website, and the animation you use and all that. It might be difficult to navigate, but it's very interesting, by the way, how you use that form of website to communicate to the viewers. So really, again, speaking about the website, I think that you have three elements to this. I would argue four, because the three that you have are property search and acquisition, which is very important, and then the renovations and financing is a second element, and of course managing the properties moving forward. But I would like to remove financing and put that separate, maybe as a third element. And so could you cover those four areas? How does Rental Rescue deal with finding the right properties and then acquiring them, because that's where many not-for-profits stumble or have obstacles that are too large for them to proceed, right? So obviously that's one of the reasons your company exists, but could you elaborate further on those four elements? Take your time and just give us a bit of information on each one of them.
Absolutely. So Rental Rescue is a turnkey acquisition partner. What does that mean? That means that we handle everything from start to finish. So when we are talking with a nonprofit or a community housing provider, they'll come to us, or we'll connect, and they'll say, we need help to grow our housing portfolio, right? We want to make more of a difference. So then we'll make those connections, and we'll say, what are your goals? Are you looking to acquire a 30-unit building, a 50, a 7, depending on their financial ability and their capacity to own and operate in the long term? They'll come to us and say, okay, we want to grow our portfolio. We say, great. Where, and give us some details on what that could look like, and then we can go about the acquisition, the process of looking for properties, so that we take on all of that ourselves. We have a great team of realtors across Ontario, who from the north to the GTHA, and we work with them to be able to find both on-market and off-market properties, which I think is really unique to us, because we've done a lot of great work off-market. So you don't even see it when people are searching on realtor.ca or wherever they are that they're looking, that we can be able to find those opportunities. And then we'll work with our nonprofit or community housing partner and say, what works best for you, and does this property that we have found meet your criteria? It is a very collaborative process. Once we've established this is a great opportunity and this is the building that we want to move forward with, then Rental Rescue will do a really thorough due diligence process. What does that mean? We'll do environmental scans. We have our own internal financial modeling. So we won't just buy a property because it's the community housing provider says this is what I want. We have to make sure that it works on our end. We've done a lot of work internally to make sure that we can meet those internal capacities for ourselves and for future affordability to sustainable affordability. So once we've purchased that property, we purchase it with private capital. And this is where we've had that conversation a little bit before, is that we work fully with private investors. We have a great team and I give 100% credit to Crystal. She is an expert and a wizard, really, at finding various forms, whether it's philanthropic foundations, whether it's high wealth individuals who just want to do good with their money, whether it's banks, credit unions, and they really just want to make a social impact. So she's been able to gather a wealth of knowledge and partnerships from the private sector, and then we will then create a capital stack very unique to each individual purpose and purchase the property through our own internal, where it has it at a zero debt or very low debt for purchase. After we do that, then we'll start conducting our own renovations. We renovate very specifically where we want to focus on including the local contractors. We do everything local. So whether we're working anywhere across Canada, we're not coming into a community and saying, oh, we know best. We've done this before 100 times. We know the city the best. We know the community the best, because we don't. We're there to support, and we want to keep the local economy flourishing. So we'll do those renovations, and we'll work with the local contractors and local companies to be able to do that work. That was step 2. Number 3, while we're doing all of that, we will continue with our managing the property and making sure that we have unique and tailored supports for our residents, right? So that they're able to thrive and eventually continue on the housing continuum, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's our goal, is that we want to see our tenants thrive and grow and develop and have a really comfortable life with, or they're not worried about rent payments. They're not worried about different various forms of skills that they're not able to build, and we want to work with them. So that's where the ongoing management piece comes in, is that we'll work with them directly to be able to meet their unique needs.
So you also mentioned, okay, so I have a few questions. Obviously, you look for certain not-for-profit organizations that are in need of your services, whether it be capital or finding properties and all that. But a lot of these not-for-profits, from my experience, have very little experience with regards to real experience on doing this kind of work, and that's where they fail to move on to the next scenario. Is it possible that you would then introduce them to some other not-for-profit organization that has succeeded in that process that you have worked in the past, or what's the plan forward when you meet this scenario that there is a real need there? The not-for-profit organization might want to build a 10-unit apartment building residential community for people with diverse abilities, because there's the families, they know who the tenants would be, but they don't know where to start. So you would then take over as an intermediary, or do you basically always control the step process, or how does it work with these individuals, these not-for-profits that don't have the experience? Because you mentioned that they tell you what they need, and then you provide the resources, right? Is that the way it works? And then you said managing, the third element we never talked about, or the fourth, is managing these properties moving forward. What's your role in that area?
Great question. So we don't really see ourselves as intermediaries. We're partners, right? We don't want to take away that autonomy that they have, because we want to be partners and supporting them for what their goals are. And we work with nonprofits who are just starting, right? I just had a conversation with an organization yesterday, and they said, we don't even know if we're able to do it. And I said, well, let's work together. Let's figure out if this can be done, and if it can't, and if they don't have the capacity. But then then we go about looking at the community, right? Like you said, are there other non-for-profits or community housing providers that are more well established that can be another partner in our venture, right? We're not looking to set anyone up for failure, right? And some people don't know the ins and outs of management or property acquisition. We are able to provide that expertise for them so they don't have to worry. But in terms of community foundations, we're more than willing, and we actually really do enjoy creating a team of partners to be able to offer the best services at the end of the day to the tenants. So we want to work with anyone and everyone, whether you're just starting and you don't know exactly, and we can work with you and help you grow, or if you are well established and you know exactly what you want. So we are very open to both situations.
So let me stop you there. So if the not-for-profit organization knocks on your door and they have a vision, they have an idea of what they need, and et cetera, but they don't have the equity, the capital, the deposit, the cash injection that is needed at the beginning of the stage, and so how much skin in the game do they need to have before you get involved, or do they have to have anything at all? Because it sounds too good to be true to be able to work with your organization without having any upfront money, which is what a lot of these non-for-profits lack, right?
Absolutely. So we do have our own internal due diligence where we will then vet out our partners. We're not just going to go and join anyone for any reason. We look at whether financial capacity, we look at their governance, if they have a board of directors or bylaws, whatever that may be. That being said, for those companies that are just starting out, we have a sliding scale. We're not going to have the same sort of agreement set up that for someone who's been in the non-for-profit world for 10 years as someone who's just joining. So in terms of financial skin in the game, we're not going to come and say, you need to provide us with a $10,000 cash injection upfront right away for someone who's just starting out, right? We do need to cover our own internal finances for our own time. That being said, it is a sliding scale, right? And we are very unique to each agreement. There's no one size fits all in our organization. We don't believe in that. We know that every organization is different from across Canada, and we want to make sure that we are providing each individual nonprofit or community housing provider with a reasonable fee so that it's not going to bankrupt them, but also so that we can move forward, right? And in terms of upfront capital, when it comes to acquisition, they don't need to put any money into that first acquisition. We provide the complete we provide the complete down payment in cash upfront, right? What they're paying for and what they will be providing us is a little bit of what we call a good faith retainer upfront for us to be able to say, we are working with you, and Rental Rescue's doing the work for you, which we are. We're the, like I said, the turnkey service that does everything for you. You just have to talk with us and we do it all. But we don't take the fee until after purchase and renovations and moving that process forward. So there really is no large sum upfront cost.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm a chartered accountant, CPA, and I've been my whole career, most of my career, I'd say more, with dealing as a CFO with publicly traded companies and private companies. So, the metric or the notion that for an investor to put in money into a project, the metric of return on your investment, ROI, is always front and center. I'll be honest with you. So how do you factor, investing in these not-for-profit, projects that require housing for people with diverse abilities, or perhaps homeless people? I don't know what your target audience is, and perhaps you can explain that. But how do you factor the ROI concept, the metric, this metric of managing your investment within dealing with the not-for-profit sector?
That's a great question, and a very popular question. What is the return on the investor? If we're working with private, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of our biggest selling points, is that we do have those connections with the private sector. And how could they not want a huge financial return? But we're not partnering with people who want 10% return. If you're calling up our organization and say, hey, we have money, we want to invest with you, but we want a 10% return, we'll say, sorry, that's not how it works with us. We're looking for people who are in the business of making a good social impact at the time. So for example, we'll work with people who have philanthropic organizations who want to either make a donation, say, I don't need the money back, it's yours, you do with it what you will. We have people who have told us, say, you know what, here is a upfront amount, 10 million, just a random number out there, and we don't expect any interest on it, right? So it's just a revolving door. And then there's some investors who will say, okay, we want a small return, 1% to 3%, something in that range. But again, if you're coming to us and saying, we have money, but we want a 10% return, that's not really the partners we're looking to make. So we've actually been very successful. And again, I'm not a numbers guy. That's not my role in the company. And I give complete credit to my team at Rental Rescue, who's very good at working through these numbers. And we're able to make these capital stacks work so that when we are purchasing the property, it's at such a minimal, if any, debt that we're able to move forward with a really great degree of affordability.
Well, you know what, Justin, that's a great message for our viewers. The fact, what I'm hearing from your response is that there are companies out there that look at the social outcome as a motivator, not necessarily the bottom line, right? Mm-hmm. Which for years has been a hindrance for cash injection into much needed housing, whether it be deeply affordable or affordable, especially for people with diverse abilities and other needs, right? So I'm so glad to hear that. Listen, I had to write this down because it was such a, but I listened to a podcast, you mentioned your CEO, Crystal Valencia, which I hope to meet one day. Sounds like a wonderful person. She said, many affordable housing units are in jeopardy due to challenges such as an aging infrastructure, which I get, financial constraints, and the rising cost of necessary renovations, which today seems to be a big deal, increasing, I should say. There's a need to preserve existing affordable housing units by safeguarding them against deterioration. If a system is not put into place, the result often leads to renovations, interesting term, and rental increases. So how does your company then work with the public and private sector to maintain affordable or deeply affordable housing and perhaps increase the number of units being built?
That's a great question. So we have two streams that we work with right now. The first one is that we target low-rise, old stock apartment buildings that have been forgotten and neglected, okay, right? So there are, like you said, there are people who are wanting to either turn over their tenants through renovation processes to be able to eventually get it to a market pricing. And we then target those properties and say, okay, we can offer you a fair market rate. If you want to be an absorbent profit margins, that doesn't work within our modeling. But we're able to work with market rates and say, okay, we'll buy this property from you, keep the levels that they're at, increase the adequate standard of living, and use our private sector capital to be able to do that. So we have a really great foundation of partners who we will talk to it and say, this is the property we're looking at. Here are the metrics, here's the outcomes that we're looking for. And if they want to then bring their capital in, which we've been very successful in doing, they will, and then we'll be able to buy it. And the beauty of it is that we're not waiting for CMHC for a 6-month acceptance and then 3-month agreement period. So then a year later, you're able to buy the property, which is then gone and off in the market. We work at market speed because we're able to access money much faster.
You've done a project recently in Hamilton, mm-hmm, right? With collaboration with First Ontario Credit Union that consisted of 8 crucial housing units. So congratulations to that. Can you elaborate on this experience? Because I think that's what people need to hear.
Absolutely. And I want to start off by just saying that First Ontario has been an incredible partner with us, and they really do care. And like you said, it's about finding the people who actually want to make a difference. And we've found that we have great partners in First Ontario who want to go in and help and make a difference in Hamilton. So what we did was, this is We only incorporated back in December 2023.
Oh,
And by June 2024, we were able to make the purchase in Hamilton of a low-rise, 8-unit building using, again, private capital. And this property right now consists of 7 one-bedroom units and 1 bachelor. We are able to offer 3 units at below 80% MMR and 2 units that are below 70% MMR. So because of our internal modeling that we were able to do and work at the pricing within our modeling, we're able to offer a deeper level of affordability.
wow, that's incredible. And congratulations again. It's so nice to hear that is being done. We need that in Halton, by the way. So we'll have to talk. You also have a second property that, can you just give us,
Absolutely.
elaborate further on that one? Your experiences, how that went?
Yeah, so we worked off the success of the King Street property and acquisition, and we learned a lot from that, working with First Ontario, working with our tenants, and building those processes where we're able to really speak and communicate and build rapport with our tenants and learn what's success and what's not successful. And in December 2024, so about 6 months after that, we were able to purchase a 9-unit low-rise apartment, and that consists of 6 one-bedroom units and 3 two-bedroom units, where we have 3 that are below 80% MMR and 2 that are below 60% MMR right now, and one of those is a 2-bedroom.
Wow, great. This one and the previous one, do they have the tenants? Are they individuals? Is it mixed tenancy, or can you elaborate as to who's occupying this? Is it people with diverse abilities, seniors? Is it a mixed tenancy situation? Or?
Absolutely. So we have a range of tenants, and we have, for example, people who are transitioning out of homelessness, people who are working and doing the minimum wage jobs, doing the working class, that grind. We have couples, we have singles, we have single mothers who are looking to come into our buildings. One thing we're very proud of and are very specific about is we never displace when we purchase, right? So we'll make sure that we are not going to just kick someone out after we purchase the property. And so our tenancy is arranged based on who was previously there, and then we work actually with the local partnerships. So for example, if we were to partner with someone in Hamilton, which we have for some of these properties, we'll say, okay, are there someone in your community when we have a vacancy that comes up in place, say, hey, do you want to bring in one of your clients? And then we can offer them a unit as we are renovating and growing.
Good, right, excellent. So how do you deal with, I know one of the big obstacles is the municipalities, right? Because there's obstacles that relate to zoning and bylaws. What's your experience with, do you act as an intermediary between the not-for-profit and the municipality with regards to dealing with these bylaws and zoning issues?
So we've been very fortunate that we haven't had too much pushback from any municipalities so far. And we want to work with municipalities. I think that's actually one of our first steps, is that when we are looking, and we've done a lot of research into where across Ontario needs the most housing and where we can make the most difference. And one of the first calls we make is with the municipality, right? Is with those housing chamber of commerce departments, committees, whatever they have in their local areas, because they know who the main actors are, they know who the main providers are, and we want to build that rapport so that we're not coming in and trying to overthrow or trying to come on and say, we know what's best. So we want to work with municipalities. So in terms of zoning, we haven't had that issue right now. I know that, for example, there's a municipality we're working with where they've been really working on developing their ADU zoning bylaws, right? And they're able to expand those. So we've been talking with them quite a bit so that when the time comes, and if we purchase a property, we can then look at properties with maybe extra land that we can build on, right? So we really want to work collaboratively with municipalities.
Well, I think now with the general consensus that the municipalities are more aware now. There's been a lot of pressure from the various levels of government to change this, and there's a lot of publicity in the newspaper and you know, a lot of talk going on. So I think within the councils, I think they're starting to get the idea. I think working with them in a collaborative way that you're doing is going to get more done than a fight with them, right? Because they are looking at the best interest of the residents. So what does the future look like for rental rescue moving forward? Where do we go from here?
That's great. I'm so excited moving forward. It's incredible how fast we're growing.
Yeah.
And on the back end of things, I've been personally working a lot on building out our foundations. We're really excited to be presenting our strategic plan, which will be coming to the public within the next month. So that's really exciting. We've been working on that. And we have actually a lot of pre-development work we're working on right now, where we have a huge opportunity in Ottawa for a 3,000 unit complex, where we can offer over 400 affordable units. So that's a really exciting, and we're just looking to actually expand across Canada. We have conversations and partners that we're talking with in BC, in Newfoundland, and right across Pan-Canada. So moving forward, we're very excited to grow and hopefully make more of a difference.
Well, you know what? You've done a really good job, and I'll come to the end of the show anyways, but I hope to have maybe you back on the program a year from now, so you're so new, and to hear about your progress, and hopefully maybe meet your CEO as well. So congratulations on your work, and thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you,
I
Lino.
think our viewers will find this your work very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Cribwolf Talks. At the heart of our program is the belief that everyone, regardless of ability, deserves a home, dignity, opportunity, and a true sense of belonging. By shining a light on organizations like Rental Rescue and thought leaders like Justin Rain, we hope to inspire action and amplify voices that too often go unheard. Together, let's continue working toward a more inclusive and compassionate community for all. I'm Lino Fera. Thank you for watching Cribwolf Talks. Be well.